Sandra Bullock sat quietly in a warm rehearsal room, yet her heart felt strangely cold. She looked at the empty space around her and felt a silent pressure growing inside her chest. Every corner of the room looked familiar, but today it felt distant. She tried to breathe slowly, but every breath carried a quiet heaviness she could not describe. She felt a sinking fear that she was losing something important inside herself. She whispered a small prayer for strength, but even her own voice sounded weak to her ears. For weeks Sandra tried to hide her struggle behind a soft smile, but her eyes showed the truth she could not escape. She felt tired in a way that sleep could not fix. She carried expectations, deadlines, and silent worries, and they pressed harder every passing day. She wondered if people still believed she was strong because she no longer felt that way. She felt her confidence slipping, and each morning demanded more courage than the last. She wanted to stay brave, but a quiet voice inside her kept saying she was falling behind. She leaned back in her chair and closed her eyes for a moment, hoping the silence would comfort her. Instead, the silence only echoed her hidden doubt. She remembered the early days when her dreams felt bright and possible. Now those dreams felt blurry and distant, as if they belonged to someone else. She asked herself why her heart felt so heavy when she had so much to be grateful for. A wave of frustration washed through her, and she tried to push it away. She told herself she just needed time, yet time only made things harder. As she sat there, Sandra felt a sudden sting behind her eyes, and she lifted her hand to wipe a forming tear. She did not want anyone to see her like this. She believed she was supposed to be strong. She believed people expected her to stay steady. But today she felt something break inside her, something soft and fragile. She felt a quiet emptiness she could not pretend away. She lowered her head and whispered the truth she feared the most. She felt she had lost hope. She did not know that someone else had quietly entered the hallway outside the room. Keanu Reeves stood near the half-closed door, watching her with calm, thoughtful eyes. He had seen her walk in earlier with a forced smile, and he sensed something was wrong. He did not want to disturb her, but the sight of her sadness pulled him closer. He felt a strong urge to be there for her. He took one small step toward the doorway, wondering if this was the moment she needed someone the most. And that step changed everything. Keanu Reeves stepped into the quiet room with gentle footsteps, hoping not to startle Sandra. He paused for a moment and observed her lowered head, her shaky breathing, and the soft trembling in her hands. He felt a deep concern rising inside him. He knew the feeling of losing direction, and he recognized the silent exhaustion in her eyes. He slowly approached her, carrying the calm energy he was known for, hoping she would feel safe enough to look up. Sandra sensed someone near her and opened her eyes with a quiet hesitation. When she saw Keanu standing a few steps away, she felt a strange mixture of comfort and embarrassment. She did not want him to see her like this, yet a part of her felt relieved that he did. She tried to straighten her posture and wipe her tears before he noticed. But Keanu noticed everything. He noticed the forced steadiness in her hands and the tired weight behind her smile. He moved closer and sat down on the chair beside her. The warmth in the room shifted a little as Keanu settled near her. He did not speak immediately, because he knew silence sometimes heals more than words. After a gentle pause, he asked her if she was all right. His voice carried patience and sincere care. Sandra tried to answer, but her throat tightened and her words fell apart before leaving her lips. She looked away to hide her struggle, but Keanu leaned forward slightly, giving her silent permission to be honest. His presence felt like a soft blanket placed over a frightened heart. Sandra finally whispered that she felt tired beyond reason. She admitted that she had been losing confidence for many weeks. She explained that she felt she was failing herself, even when everyone believed she was doing well. Her voice cracked as she confessed that she felt she no longer had a clear purpose. She felt disconnected from her own dreams and unsure how to find her spark again. As she spoke, her eyes filled with tears she could not hold back anymore, and her voice softened into a shaky breath. Keanu listened to every word with full attention. He did not interrupt her or try to fix her pain too fast. He let her release the weight she had been holding alone. He understood that people sometimes needed space to fall apart without judgment. When she finally paused, he gently placed his hand on the table between them, leaving a quiet space for her to rest her thoughts. He reminded her that strength was not measured by never falling. He told her strength was measured by the courage to face the fall without running away. His words reached somewhere deep inside her. She felt warmth spreading through her chest, slowly melting the heaviness she carried. Her shoulders relaxed a little as his kindness settled around her like soft light, yet she still felt unsure of the path ahead. She wondered if hope could return as easily as it once lived in her heart. Keanu sensed her uncertainty and leaned back slightly, preparing to share something important. His eyes held a calm focus, as if he was about to reveal a truth she needed. Just when Sandra began to feel safe, a sudden knock echoed through the hallway outside. Both of them turned their heads toward the door. The knock was sharp, urgent, and out of place. Sandra felt a strange chill run down her spine. Keanu stood up slowly, sensing something unusual about the timing. He walked toward the door with cautious steps, preparing to open it. And the moment he touched the handle, everything shifted. Keanu opened the door with steady hands, expecting a crew member or assistant with a simple message. But the hallway was empty. The soft lights flickered slightly, and the air felt strangely still. Sandra watched from her chair with rising tension. A quiet discomfort settled in the room because the knock had sounded too clear to be a mistake. Keanu stepped into the hallway and looked both ways, but no one was present. He felt something unusual, a sense that this moment carried more meaning than it appeared. When Keanu returned inside, Sandra felt her heartbeat increase. She asked him softly if someone was outside. He assured her the hallway was clear, but he also admitted the knock felt purposeful. She wrapped her arms around herself as a gentle unease settled over her. For a moment they both listened to the quiet room, hoping the strange chill would fade. But something inside Sandra felt different, almost as if the knock had awakened a buried fear she had not faced in years. Her breath grew shallow as an old memory surfaced. Sandra looked down and whispered that the sound reminded her of a past moment she never talked about. Keanu immediately sensed the shift in her voice. He returned to his seat beside her and waited for her to speak. She closed her eyes and revealed that many years ago she received unexpected news during a rehearsal just like this. The memory carried a heavy emotional weight. She remembered hearing a similar sharp knock before someone delivered painful information that changed her entire direction. She admitted that she always feared hearing that sound again because it made her feel helpless. Keanu watched her carefully as she shared the story. He saw the tension in her shoulders and the fear hiding behind her calm tone. She explained that the old memory created a deep fear inside her, and she sometimes felt controlled by it. She told him she worried that something unexpected might take her peace again. As she spoke, her breathing shook slightly, but she kept going. She felt she had carried this fear quietly for too long, and the knock today reopened it without warning. Keanu felt his chest tighten with empathy for her. Keanu leaned a little closer and spoke gently. He reminded her that fear often tries to return when we feel weak. He explained that her mind connected the sound to an old wound, not a real threat. He said that sometimes life repeats a moment only to show us how much stronger we have become. His voice was steady and warm, creating a safe space for her. Sandra felt a small spark inside her heart, as if someone placed a soft light behind her sadness. She breathed in deeply, letting his calm energy settle inside her. But just as she began to relax, Keanu noticed something on the floor near the door. A small envelope had been slipped under the frame. It was plain white with no mark or name. Keanu stood and picked it up carefully. Sandra watched him with widening eyes, her chest tightening again. The envelope felt connected to the knock, and both of them knew it held something unexpected. Keanu held it in his hands for a moment, feeling a strange tension in the air. He looked at Sandra with a reassuring expression, then slowly opened it. Inside the envelope was a short handwritten note. Keanu read it silently, his expression turning thoughtful and serious. Sandra waited, gripping the edge of her chair. The silence grew heavier with each passing second. When Keanu finally lifted his eyes, something in his gaze made her heart race. He walked back to her slowly and handed her the note. She took it with trembling fingers and opened it. The message carried only one line, written in simple, calm writing. But its meaning was powerful enough to change everything she believed. And as she read it, her breath completely stopped. The note in Sandra's hands felt impossibly light, yet her fingers trembled as if she was holding something heavy. The room suddenly felt smaller and warmer, and her heartbeat echoed inside her ears. She read the line again, trying to understand what it meant. The message said one simple sentence. It said that she was stronger than she believed and that her best days were still waiting for her. The words were gentle and encouraging, but Sandra froze because the handwriting felt familiar. Her eyes widened as she realized why the message struck her so deeply. She had seen this handwriting before, many years ago, during a time when she desperately needed direction. Keanu watched her reaction with quiet concern. He could see her breathing change, and he leaned forward slightly, ready to support her if she collapsed emotionally. Sandra swallowed hard and whispered that the handwriting belonged to a mentor she once trusted deeply. She explained that he disappeared from her life without explanation, leaving her confused and unsure about her own abilities. She said he once inspired her during her early days when she struggled to make brave decisions. but his sudden distance created a small wound inside her that never fully healed. Now the same handwriting was back in her hands without warning. Keanu listened carefully, his eyes filled with calm focus. He sensed how deeply this memory had shaped her. He watched the way she gently held the note as if it carried more than just ink. He knew the past had a strange way of reappearing when someone stood at a crossroads. He placed his hand on the table again, giving her something stable to hold on to. He asked her if she wanted to talk about what happened back then. She nodded slowly, feeling a mixture of fear and relief. She felt ready to share something she had carried in silence for too long. Sandra took a long breath and spoke softly. She told Keanu that her mentor once helped her believe in her own potential. He supported her dreams during a time when she doubted herself. He encouraged her and guided her with patience. But one day he suddenly left her life without a reason. She received no goodbye and no explanation. She felt abandoned and blamed herself for his absence. The unresolved pain stayed with her and became a quiet fear inside her heart. She explained that this fear slowly grew into a belief that she was never enough for the people she valued. As Sandra spoke, Keanu's expression shifted. His eyebrows lowered slightly in deep thought. He could sense there was something more behind the note. He felt the situation becoming more unusual, almost too precise to be a coincidence. He wondered if someone knew about Sandra's vulnerable moment and chose this day to reach out. But he did not want to overwhelm her with speculation. Instead, he reminded her that people leave for different reasons, and their silence is not always our fault. He spoke with calm certainty, telling her she did not deserve the pain she carried for so long. Sandra looked at him with grateful eyes, but a part of her remained unsure. She felt something rising inside her, a mix of hope and confusion. She asked herself why the message arrived today, on the exact moment she confessed she felt lost. She wondered if someone had been watching her journey quietly for years. She wondered if the note meant her past was returning, or if it was simply a sign that she needed to trust herself again. Her heart beat faster as she searched for meaning. Keanu studied her closely, sensing the storm of thoughts inside her mind. Then Keanu noticed something in the corner of the envelope. A faint drawing rested near the edge of the paper. It was a tiny symbol, almost invisible, but Keanu recognized it immediately. He reached out and gently pointed at the mark. Sandra leaned in and gasped softly when she saw it. It was the same symbol her mentor used when signing his personal letters, a symbol only a few people ever saw. Her breath caught in her throat and her chest tightened. Keanu looked at her with a steady expression and asked a quiet question. He asked her if she believed he was reaching out again. And Sandra felt her entire world shift in one heartbeat. Sandra held the note close to her chest, and her breath grew unsteady again. The familiar symbol on the corner felt like a soft echo from a distant past she once loved deeply and feared losing forever. The room around her seemed to blur for a moment as memories flooded her mind with sharp clarity. She remembered the long conversations, the calm guidance, and the sincere encouragement her mentor once gave her. She remembered how he believed in her before she believed in herself. And now one quiet message had pulled every memory back to life. Keanu watched her with steady patience, sensing how much weight she carried in her heart. He moved his chair slightly closer, keeping his voice calm and warm. He asked her what she felt at that moment because understanding her feelings mattered more than solving the mystery. Sandra wiped a small tear from her cheek and admitted she did not know how to feel. She felt hopeful, scared, confused, grateful, and overwhelmed all at the same time. She said the message felt like a soft hand reaching from the past. A hand she once trusted more than her own. Keanu leaned forward with quiet sincerity. He told her that reconnecting with an old memory could be powerful, but it could also be painful if not handled carefully. He wanted her to feel safe enough to decide what the message meant for her future. He reminded her that sometimes life gives us signs when we stand at the edge of change. He said the timing of the note might not be an accident. Sandra listened closely, feeling his words settle inside her like slow-moving light. She felt the room becoming warmer again as his support wrapped around her heart. But something inside Sandra still felt uncertain. She looked down at the message again and asked Keanu a question she feared deeply. She asked if he thought her mentor might still be watching her journey from a distance. She wondered if he still cared enough to send encouragement when she needed it most. Her voice softened with a shaky hope she was scared to trust. The idea that someone remembered her strength made her heart tremble in a new way. She wanted to believe the message was real. She wanted to believe someone believed in her again. Keanu understood her fear and her hope very clearly. He told her gently that people who truly care about us never stop wishing the best for us. He explained that her mentor might have stepped away from her life, but that did not mean his care faded. He said the message could be a reminder that she still carried every lesson given to her. He reminded her that her mentor once taught her to rise even when she felt broken. He told her she carried that strength within her every single day, even when she forgot it. Sandra listened and felt something shift inside her chest. It felt like a door opening after many years of being locked. Her fear softened into warmth. Her sadness loosened its grip on her heart. She felt a spark of courage she had not felt in many months. She began to realize that the message was not just a reminder of her past. It was a gentle push toward her future. She felt a small smile forming, a real one, not the forced one she wore earlier. Keanu noticed the change in her expression and felt relief spread through him. Then she looked at Keanu with a thoughtful expression and asked him something completely unexpected. She asked if he believed the message was truly meant for her or if someone else in the building could have written it. Keanu raised his eyebrows slightly, sensing a deeper question inside her voice. He asked her why she doubted her place in the message. She hesitated for a moment, and then she shared something she had never admitted before. She told him she was scared to accept kindness because she feared she would disappoint the people who believed in her. Keanu felt his heart tighten at her confession. He gently placed his hand on the back of her chair, offering steady warmth without pressure. He told her she was not defined by expectations. He said she did not need to be perfect to be worthy of care. He reminded her that true encouragement comes without conditions. Sandra felt his words settle inside her like soft rain. She felt her shoulders relax as she breathed in slowly. She realized she had been holding herself hostage to old fears and forgotten joys. And then something happened that neither of them expected. A soft vibration echoed from the table between them. It came from Sandra's phone. She reached for it with hesitant fingers and looked at the screen. Her eyes widened in disbelief. Her mentor's name appeared on the display in a message notification. Keanu leaned closer, his expression shifting with surprise. Sandra opened the message slowly, her hands shaking again. And the single line inside changed everything they believed about the note. Sandra stared at her phone with wide, uncertain eyes, and the world around her seemed to pause. Her mentor's name glowing on the screen felt unreal. Her hands shook as she opened the message. Keanu watched her closely, sensing the coming shift in her life. The room felt heavier and brighter at the same time, as if something important waited in the silence. The message was short, yet every word carried a deep, familiar warmth. Her mentor wrote that he had been following her journey quietly for many years. He said he never stepped away because of her. He stepped away because he was fighting a private struggle he did not want her to carry. He explained that he sent the handwritten note earlier that morning after noticing her recent emotional silence. He said he wanted her to remember her strength before she forgot it completely. He ended the message by saying she deserved a future filled with hope, not fear. Sandra covered her mouth with her hand as a wave of emotions rose inside her. Her eyes filled with tears that did not feel heavy anymore. They felt cleansing. She felt relief mixing with gratitude, dissolving years of confusion and hidden pain. She read the message again and again, letting each word land inside her heart. The truth felt softer than she expected. Her mentor never abandoned her. He only protected her from his own struggle. The fear she carried for years slowly began to fade like a shadow, losing its shape under sunlight. Keanu leaned closer and placed a gentle hand on her arm. He asked her softly what the message said. Sandra breathed in slowly and explained everything with a trembling voice. She told him that the mystery was not a threat. It was a gift. It was a reminder that she was never truly alone. As she spoke, her shoulders relaxed for the first time in weeks. Keanu listened with a warm, steady gaze, feeling proud of her courage. He saw her face glowing with a new calm strength when she thought she had lost forever. Keanu sat back and let out a slow breath, relieved to see her heart healing. He reminded her that every person faces moments when life feels too heavy. He told her the bravest thing she did was admit her pain instead of hiding it. He said her honesty opened the door to healing. Sandra felt a soft smile spread across her face. It was gentle, sincere, and filled with quiet gratitude. She looked at Keanu with eyes that finally carried hope instead of fear. The room felt brighter now. The silence no longer felt empty. It felt peaceful. Sandra folded the handwritten note carefully and placed it beside her phone. She looked out the window and felt a strange warmth rising in her chest. The message from her past and the kindness from Keanu created a new direction inside her. She realized that her future did not depend on fear. Her future depended on the courage she chose today. She finally understood something she had forgotten for years. Hope was not lost. It was waiting for her to look up again. Sandra stood slowly from her chair, feeling stronger than she had in months. Keanu rose beside her and gave her a gentle, supportive smile. He told her he believed she was about to step into a powerful new chapter. She felt his words anchor inside her heart with comforting certainty. The room that once felt heavy now felt filled with promise. She breathed deeply and let her fears drift away like soft dust carried by sunlight. She looked at Keanu and said she felt ready to start again. She said she wanted to rebuild her confidence and honor the kindness that reached her today. Keanu nodded proudly and promised he would support her every step of the way. Sandra felt warmth settle around her like a gentle protective shield. She lifted her chin and allowed hope to return fully. Her future no longer felt distant. It felt alive. And in that quiet room, surrounded by soft light and sincere kindness, Sandra Bullock realized something life-changing. She had not lost hope. She had only forgotten where to look. Keanu Reeves reminded her how to find it again.